guys, we got a lot of belts laying here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about belts.
Absolutely.
They hold up my pants.
Grip here. Yeah.
I think
I'll see myself out there.
I think the most common thing that I see in people coming into stores, and we provide chic belts, North Fitness belts in our own.
That's awesome.
Is people assume that it is the number one protector of their back.
Yep.
I don't want to hurt my back, so I want to know what you guys think.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I've. We used to work for a big global gym, but I'll go to different gyms and I'll watch guys come out of the locker room with a belt latched on. It's like, man, you just walked out. It's like you just walked out, man. Like, if there was purpose behind it, you're not using it. If you can literally just walk around, it's just there. It's not fashion, man. This is not like, there's way cooler ways to present yourself than putting on a lifting belt.
Same. I mean, we saw it with back when SBD sleeves got popular, and even Inzer belts. Like everybody, even in the Globo gyms, just had them wrapped around their knees.
Yep.
You're not even squatting today.
Supports my joints. You're doing curls.
That's the thing. It's like they have uses, right? Like all things workout equipment wise, they're all different tools for different things, right? And that's just like we have so many different ones laid out here. Each one of these are a little bit different. They provide kind of a different purpose, and they're used for different times, right?
They should.
Well, like I always equated like this style, the tapered belt, as more of like a bodybuilding kind of belt. Do you wear these? Well, like I would say probably the biggest bodybuilder.
I'm a little bit biased now with ours, so I do wear like a Velcro style belt, more so similar to this.
Okay.
These are. I suppose they have their place. I think these are the reason that a lot of people assume that it's saving their back when they're doing, squats and stuff. But isn't the belt's purpose to provide a core support? Right. Keep you upright. Although I could see this being great for stabilization. Any of these bodybuilding belts, personally, I don't use them for like squatting support or bracing necessarily. It's more so that I can stabilize myself so that the muscle that I'm trying to activate gets its full contraction. Because if I'm over here rocking on lateral raises and because my core's not holding me upright, am I getting any activation like throughout this portion?
What's the purpose behind it? Everything should have purpose. So with the tapered belts, you're exactly right. It's like why taper in the front when that's technically the area we want to have the most support, if you really think about it, because you're not just putting if you put two walls next to each other, they're not supporting each other when they're just next to each other. So when people put something on the backside, they're like, oh, it supports me. It's like, if you're leaning on it, maybe, but you shouldn't be leaning on it. So the tapered belt, I like that for some people that maybe just have a slightly larger midsection. It's a comfort thing, or they're just getting into belt lifting. So it's just like, okay, this 4-inch belt here is going to be a little uncomfortable. You might not be quite ready for it. We'll start with the tapered belt. It might feel a little better, right? So if you're doing maybe a little more bodybuilding, where the movements aren't as rigid and fixed or heavy loaded as like our powerlifts, maybe it couldn't hurt to go with the tapered belt, But I like the Velcro belt. I lifted with the Velcro belt forever. So I actually really like it.
And they're great,
your guys' belt that you guys just launched is fucking awesome.
Well, thank you. And I never used a Velcro belt until like last year. And when I did, I was used to an Inzer, like a lever belt, but it was so rigid, and I found that the more like hypertrophy phases I was going through, it was more difficult to get sets of 10 with an Inzer belt. This is more flexible and breathable for me.
That makes a lot of sense.
Doing higher repetition, higher volume.
Well, when I was doing weightlifting a little bit, so Olympic lifting, it's like you're going through multiple pulls and ranges of motion. So it's like you want support, but you don't want to be so rigid. So I would find like, these belts hurt like hell. Because you're literally doing a jumping motion with a belt on. Sometimes these were just a little too intense. So that's why I really like the Velcro belts whenever I did movements like that.
That's awesome.
So I would say the number one usage of a belt, right, is to give feedback for your core to brace against, so that a tighter core then creates a more stable spine. So it's not so much the belt that's protecting the back, it's the activation of the abs that are protecting the back. So if we apply that idea to the movements you're then doing, something like bodybuilding, where you need a bunch of different ranges of motion available, maybe you don't want to be quite as thick around the midsection, right? You would want that tapered. That's why we typically see kind of like the bodybuilders using, that's kind of that classic style. It's a little more culture, right?
That's true.
Like this one doesn't have padding in it, so it's more directly linked to your kinetic chain than it would be something like these Harbingers that have the padding in here.
Right.
I think these are dated, to be honest. I would probably never use
I'm trying to think of
a padded belt.
Kind of padded belt.
Right.
No specific. I mean, again, like
when you're sitting on the leg extension and you already have it on. That feels nice and comfortable, man.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like if you're able to activate your abs better through this and it keeps your back semi-comfortable, then great.
Sure.
But then like you move into the Velcros, like which are, I would say nowadays, like if you have the same width all the way around, are probably the most versatile belts. Particularly you see them in Olympic lifts when, again, if you're going from floor to overhead on weight, you need a little bit more flexibility than what you get out of something like the leather belts, which are going to be stiffer. But no padding in these, and then the same width all the way around gives you, I would say, probably the most bang for your buck as far as flexibility and support goes.
Yeah.
But then you step up into something like the leathers, where you're seeing typically in like powerlifting, where you have the same thickness all the way around. It's leather, so it's a little bit stiffer, and that 4-inch diameter down the length of it gives you, again, kind of the most stability. And in my mind, I think some of the better ab contractions for the lifts, right? And then like
slightly bigger surface area to push against, so that's actually going to give you a better area to stimulate muscle fibers, and then it's a little more rigid, right? So all these are 10 millimeter. We don't have any 13 millimeters in here.
Is this one not 13?
I don't think so.
And we're talking about thickness on the leather, right? Like this is. I know this one is 10.
So
this one is 10. Yours is 10.
It's like Gabby used to lift in the 13 millimeter.
I've never liked
13.
Dude, I've never liked 13.
I hated my
too much.
Yeah,
too much, man.
So with the leather belts, with these thick ones that whether it's lever or double prong, single prong, how is somebody supposed to secure that on their stomach? Because that's something that I often have.
Question.
We see it. I think, and these guys down here that are tapered, you see it in the gym, and it's coming just right there across their waist.
Yeah.
Are these different?
So when you're securing a belt to like your stomach or around your waist, it depends to me on what the lift you're doing is, and it's a little bit more adjustable to like what you like specifically. Again, the ab contraction is what's most important.
Where you feel
for instance,
more support or better
like on the squat, I generally like kind of midline. The deadlift, I like a little bit higher. And the bench, I don't wear one. And if I was doing other movements, I might like it somewhere else. So it's a little bit of kind of you figuring it out.
Gotcha.
For me, like if you're first time ever you're doing it, what I like to see is finding the bottom of my rib cage and the top of the iliac crest on my pelvis. Somewhere midline there, start there. Not like
it's
low
the
on
smartest
your,
part
not like your
section for the
waist,
most part. It's probably the smallest part, so you're probably going to need the most support there anyway. But yeah, I mean, that gives you the ability to push your diaphragm down against it. It's right there, and it's not so low that if you go too much lower than that, it's like a lumbar spine really shouldn't
just
be
like hitting my pelvis.
Exactly. Yeah.
We see them placed so low, and I always, as a rule of thumb, I'm like, look, and I'll just tell customers to put it on and see what they think. And it'll be down here, and I'm like, place it above your belly button. Like the bottom should come up above. They're like, wow, that feels so much different. I need a different size. So just a common misconception about the placement of it.
No, absolutely, and I think it's okay to play with different places. I tell everybody it's just like one size doesn't fit all, especially when it comes to lifting. Belts are the same way.
Exactly.
So play around with different places. Where do you feel like you're getting the most out of it, the most security? So for some of the people in the gym that got these really long torsos, I actually kind of encourage them to go a little higher. They're a little more vulnerable up here than they are, slightly lower anyway, right? So go a little higher, or if you are someone who is, hey, get a little extra in the midsection, you probably feel more comfortable going a little higher anyway than right across your stomach. You're probably going to be able to get more of your actual ab muscles against it versus some of that just extra adipose tissue sitting right there. But the other things I like is, I was just talking with one of the members. He was asking why prong belts over lever belts or anything like that. And I told him, honestly, the reason why I still lift with a prong belt is because the versatility. So like, I don't like my belt as tight for deadlifting. Like you said, you like yours a little higher. I actually go a little looser.
You can adjust a little bit better.
Exactly. So I have options. So like my deadlifting, I actually go slightly a notch bigger.
You give yourself more room. Interesting.
I'm down there, I got a little more abdominal pressure, stuff like that. It feels more comfortable, I actually feel like I'm stronger. Whereas my squat, a little more upright, things are a little more tapered, a little leaner. So I crank it a little bit harder just for that, But Then you, of course, Pioneer's got this amazing lever plus multiple option notch. So something like this is kind of the best of both worlds, right?
You can dial that one in a little bit if you like it tighter.
Exactly.
Or like you know, you have a great movement in the morning and you're a little bit leaner. You can dial a little bit tighter. Right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, think about it. Especially as men, we fluctuate 3 to 5 pounds daily, right? Yeah. So that's the other thing I think I like about these. Whereas some of these lever belts, it's like, well, if you're someone that doesn't fluctuate your body weight as much,
this one
maybe it's not as bad. You know,
this one's set.
Yep.
Because those things are a son of a bitch to get on and off when you first get
Someone have a screwdriver?
Yeah, you can adjust it.
Almost had to call the fire department for mine. No kidding, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Couldn't get it off?
I was an idiot and didn't let it break in. Like, so
I
was like 18 at the time, got my custom Inzer belt in the mail.
Yes.
And I just went to put it on.
Yeah.
When the leather was not broken in.
Oh, no.
You couldn't get it off?
Yeah, for probably an hour and a half I was sitting there. Yeah, and I called my dad while he was at work. I was still in high school, too. I was like, Dad, I don't know what to do. And he was like, son, go get, pliers and got it. But
that's a horror story.
That's why I just don't, maybe that's why I like look at those and kind of hiss,
Sure, yeah.
Which I'd say, like,
animosity,
I've started leaning towards the buckle, again, for the flexibility. But I started in the lever, and for the opposite reason, I think is why I like the lever so much. Is because, like, particularly if you're just gassed after a lift, you can just pop that lever right open and get right out.
That's a good point.
Instead of having to kind of struggle.
Yeah, that is definitely frustrating. And I've got the 2 prongs on this one, so that's just another like. I don't know if there's a huge difference. I've never noticed a big difference between a single prong and 2 prongs. I feel maybe a little more security, a little more stable, but man, when it comes to getting one off, like occasionally I'll get one of them and not realize it, and I'm like, oh crap, and then I gotta pull it back, try to get it open. You just did a set, you're out of breath, you're already uncomfortable, you're ready to just kind of clear yourself, Okay, I need room to breathe. So I do miss the lever for that exact reason right there, just to unlatch it. And plus, it's a super cool way to finish your lift.
Right.
Well, it's badass. Sit down.
Exactly.
If you had someone come ask you, I've never worn a belt before, I'm looking at wearing one, what would you say to them? Jake, we'll start with you.
My response would be, what's your goal? Right? And I would also try to analyze their stance, their figure, their torso length as well. But largely, most people that come to us are after hypertrophy, more muscle building. So, either the single double prong or a Velcro is a great place, and it just depends on them. Because something like this, if you're already squatting 500 pounds, you're probably beyond that.
You're already
beyond it. You don't need that. So a lot of factors, though. There is no best. I think they'd have to play around with it for themselves ultimately.
Sure. I think you answered it perfectly.
Well, so Chad, if you had
goal-oriented, right?
If you had a power lifter, you had a bodybuilder come to you. If you had a power lifter come to you, it's like, hey, I'm wanting to get into powerlifting. I want to squat, bench, and dead heavy. Do you think I need a belt? Which one should I go with?
Which brand or which style?
Just you had these belts laying out on you. Which one would you be like? I would go for that one for these reasons.
First one, man, probably the Prong, man. That's my go-to. Yeah, I mean it's so traditional. It's so everyone's used one. They come with multiple notches, so it's easy to adjust on the fly. As you're getting stronger and you want to invest more, because I'm pretty sure as far as cost goes, I think the levers are slightly more expensive. Don't quote me on that.
This is probably going to be your cheapest lever.
Yeah, exactly.
Or cheapest leather belt.
So I think cost too, because people when they get into powerlifting, it may not be there forever. It may not be something they're gonna try it. They may love it. I hope they love it. Hope they get a great experience out of it. But also tell them it's like, hey, start small. You don't need to buy the most expensive belt out there. If you want fantastic belts, Pioneer of course makes custom belts to everything you want. It can be catered exactly the way you want it. You're gonna spend a little extra, but hey man, you get a badass belt that'll last you forever, right? But for me, like this I got this one from Pioneer, this Prong belt, and it's been great. I put a lot of use into it. I'm pretty sure there's blood on it.
Battle scars.
But that's usually where I would probably point them is, hey, Amazon, you're going to get a nice leather prong belt, and you're going to be set for it'll last you forever. If you treat it well, respect it. That's the one I would refer to if it was powerlifting.
Nice.
For sure.
Nice.
Logan, what about you? Where's
my go-to? I have a special place in my heart for the lever. That's where I started. But I think I would suggest for anybody is the 4-inch wide all the way around, 10 millimeter thick leather belt, and I'd probably go the single prong just to give you a little more adjustability on the fly, because you're probably, if you're just getting into it, you're going to be gaining or losing weight, and you're going to want something that's going to last you a while. If you want the quick disconnect, go for the lever, but if you want to get used to kind of the ins and outs of belt wearing, You can't beat that 4-inch, man.
Yeah.
That 10
It's a great
millimeter.
introduction.
I love it,
Yeah.
It's a great starter too.
I love it.
You just sold it, man.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm going to buy it.
Calling Pioneer when I
So I think that's ours. I'm going to buy it from us, you know? That's such a good sale, yeah.
I know, man.
Yeah.
I felt the emotion there.
Yeah.
But,
I'm passionate about belts.
Yeah.
I like leather.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
well, yeah.
Well, should we go just take some action shots of these things, man?
Some action shots.
Action
shots.
shots. I want to show how the lever works, right?
I'm in action. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Let's do it.
I don't think I can do that.